Hello, this is Dr. Vijay Raghavan. Now, today's topic is healthy diet. We all want to be healthy, and now, especially in the recent years, there's a lot of awareness about being healthy. Now, so what is the diet? What is a healthy diet? Let's think about it. One cannot think well, love well, or sleep well if one has not dined well. This is what Virginia Woolf has talked about healthy diet. You can't think well, love well, or sleep well unless you have dined well. Healthy outside starts from inside. That is what Robert Urich told about healthy diet. The facts to be remembered is diet plays a critical role in shaping the health and well-being of both individuals and population. We are talking about the whole human race. And unhealthy diet is a major risk factor for disease and disability. Healthy diet helps to protect against malnutrition in all its forms. We always think of malnourishment as undernourished. We are almost using the malnourishment as equivalent to undernourishment. Malnourishment includes overnourishment as well. So when we say nourishment, malnourishment is both over and undernourished. So this malnutrition leads to a lot of non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, stroke, cancer. We will see it during the course of this episode. So the healthy dietary practice starts at birth, early in life. Starting with breastfeeding fosters a healthy growth and improves proper brain development in the babies. Dietary behaviors and preferences established in childhood and adolescence often extend into the adulthood. This is another very common factor. A child which is used to this particular type of diet, he is going to continue that throughout his life. So early practice of healthy diet in childhood goes a long way in keeping ourselves healthy. So what are the basic facts about nutrition or diet? Healthy diets come in many forms, but four core principles are adequacy of diet, balance of diet, moderation in various types of diets or various types of nutritions. Diversity should be the foundation of any healthy diet. Just because I am going to eat a healthy diet does not mean I will eat the same thing every day. If you are going to insist on similar type of food every single day, people are not going to follow that. So there should be some diversity, and that should be the foundation of a healthy diet. A diet must also be safe to be healthy, that is, free from contamination with chemicals or bacteria or bugs. A variety of minimally processed and unprocessed foods, low in unhealthy fat, free sugar and sodium, are the foundation of any healthy diet. Now, I have included a term called minimally processed food. Ideally speaking, we should be consuming more of unprocessed food. But today, we are so dependent on technology and so dependent on processed food. So, let's include minimally processed food. We'll look into that, what is the processing and how it affects your health. So, consuming a healthy diet throughout the life helps in prevention of malnutrition in all its forms. Now I have included overnourishment and undernourishment in this. And it prevents a range of non-communicable diseases and conditions. So, what do you mean by prevention of malnutrition in all its forms? As we said, malnutrition includes poor and overnutrition. So, obesity is also a malnutrition. So, malnutrition is a defective nutrition, not necessarily a deficit nutrition. Obese child is also malnourished. I think I have been stressing it too much as of now. Now coming to the non-communicable diseases and conditions, they are diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity. Why am I including obesity in the non-communicable disease? Now, the obesity is also considered as a disease. It is not a physical appearance, it is a disease. Now, what has changed in our diet? A shift in dietary patterns happens due to change in the food production and food system. The availability of easy food, fast food, high fat food, attractive, tasty foods have changed our pattern of dietary habits. Rapid urbanization has led to change in our diet. Most importantly, changing lifestyles. People are now consuming more highly processed food, high in unhealthy fat, free sugars and salt and sodium. They do not eat enough fruit and vegetables, and they do not consume sufficient dietary fibers. We'll go into the details of this. The stress is on not eating fruits and vegetables and dietary fibers. The exact makeup of our diversified, balanced or healthy diet will vary depending on our individual characteristics. The age. Each person has got a different affinity to different types of food depending on his age. The gender, lifestyle and degree of physical activity. It also depends on cultural context, locally available foods and dietary customs. So coming to the basic question, what is a healthy diet? Basic principle of what constitutes a healthy diet remains the same, wherever you are and whatever culture you belong to. The four basic principles of a healthy diet are adequacy, balance, moderation and diversity. Important thing is adequacy. So our diet should meet our nutritional needs without exceeding or without deficiency. So your nutritional needs depends on your physical activity. So if your calorie needs are not met, you are going to lose weight. Or if the calorie consumed are more than what is spent, you are going to become obese. We need an adequacy of micronutrients and macronutrients as well, so that deficiency are prevented. There are certain micronutrients, we call it vitamins, minerals. Vitamin is nothing but vital amines. These are essential for our normal healthy growth and development. So these are the micronutrients also is needed. So you should have a diet which is adequate in micronutrients as well as macronutrients. Second important factor is balance. The total energy intake is balanced with energy expenditure. This is the basic dictum. So your intake should be depending on what is your physical activity on day-to-day basis and what is your energy expenditure per day. With an adequate balance across the three primary sources of energy, our diet should contain protein, fat and carbohydrate. These are three major primary sources of energy for our living. Third important point is moderation. Limiting the intake of nutrients, ingredients and foods that may be detrimental to our health. Certain foods may be very attractive, very tasty, you want to eat more, but they may be detrimental to our health. So idea is at least take this unhealthy diet in moderation. Don't plunge into them. Don't eat too much of them. Fourth factor we said for a healthy diet is diversity. Inclusion of wide variety of nutritious food within and across the food groups. As we said, more the variety and more chance of people accepting this as a healthy diet and going forward with healthy food intake. Diet embracing these four core principles promote health throughout the course of the life. Now we have been talking about energy need, calorie count. So what are these things? You need energy from calories for your body to work properly. Your body uses this energy to function properly. Now we will always think about energy expenditure when we are talking about your physical activity. But remember, your body undergoes lot of changes, lot of work is being done by your organs which you are not aware of. Heart is beating, kidney is functioning, liver is doing lot of energy expenditure type of work. So all this internal work also needs lot of energy. If you want to remain in the same weight, the calories your body uses should be the same as the amount of calories you eat or drink. If you do not use the same amount of calories as you eat or drink, or you are not going to spend all the amount of calories you have consumed, your body weight may change. You are likely to put on weight if you eat and drink more calories than you use, quite obvious to everyone. This is because your body stores the extra energy as fat. You are likely to lose weight if you eat or drink fewer calories than what you need This is because your body uses up its stored fat for energy. Anyway, body has to do its job. So it needs a minimum energy. If your intake is less, it's going to use up the stored fat. If your intake is more than what is necessary, it's going to store it as excess fat. Remember, you should be aware of the calorific value of various food we consume. Majority the food items sold in the market carry the details of the calorie contents and its ingredients, including the type of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. I'm talking about ready to eat food. Nobody is going to tell you about the calorie content of rice, potato, or wheat. So now you know what food contains how much calories. Now the next step is to know how much calories you should consume. Another important thing to remember is the type of work you do and the amount of calorie you spend on your daily activity decides how much calorie you may consume every day. Let's take some examples. An adult male, normally we take adult male weighing around 60 kgs. So a 60 kg man needs 2100 calories for a sedentary type of life. Desk work, driving the car, no physical activity, just to maintain his normal body weight, he needs 2100 calories. It is going to be 2700 with a person with moderate physical activity, or it's going to be 3400 calories for a heavy worker, manual workers. An average woman weight is supposed to be 55 kgs. So she needs 1700 calories for a sedentary type of life, 2100 for moderate activity, and 2700 for heavy work. During pregnancy, another 350 calories may be added for the development of a normal baby. Similarly, another 650 calories per day may be added to those who are nursing or breastfeeding the babies. As expected, rural people need more when compared to urban people because of their physical activity. They are more active physically than an urban person. So if you are going to plan a diet to reduce weight, what should be your plan? 500 to 1000 calorie deficit per day will cause a reduction of around half a kg of weight in a week. If you want to lose half a kg per week, you need to reduce your calorie between 500 to 1000 calories per every single day. Few examples of our diet and their calorie values. Dosa gives you 125 calories. Fulka gives you 80 calories. Look at that. Biryani gives you 1400 calories. Now coming to guidance about healthy diet. First important point is carbohydrate. Carbohydrates provide the primary energy source for the body. As long as you have enough sufficient supply of carbohydrate for your daily energy needs, carbohydrate is the first thing to be used. The amount of carbohydrate in the diet can vary, and although low or very low carbohydrate diets are used to treat certain conditions. Classical example is diabetes. So they tell you no carb diet, reduce the carbohydrate, because they are not able to handle the carbohydrate in the body. For most people, a variety of unrefined carbohydrate should represent a significant portion of the diet, approximately 45 to 75% of the total energy need. Now every word is important here. It is said that unrefined carbohydrate. If you take carbohydrate which are complex with lot of fibers, you are unlikely to have issues of handling the extra carbohydrate consumed. Refined food, refined preparations, high sweetened food. These are the issues which cause intolerance to carbohydrate management in your body. So your carbohydrate content of your food, if you are non-diabetic, it can be anywhere between 50 to 75% of your total calorie need. So carbohydrates in the diet are commonly from whole grains, including unprocessed maize, millet, oats, wheat, brown rice. This is another common feeling among our people is oats. I take only oats, and so I am on a diet. Oats is another cereal and it gives you a similar amount of calories. It contains more fibers, so you are challenging the system with increased amount of carbohydrate may be low, but still oats also contains carbohydrate, sugar. The carbohydrate can come from vegetables, fruits, pulses like lentils, chickpeas, beans, and dried peas are also source of carbohydrate. Fresh fruits and vegetables are great choices for carbohydrate. Frozen and canned are good provided they don't have added sugar or excess sodium. While fruit juice can be consumed, but one should remember that most varieties, including those without added sugar, contain significant amount of free sugar. They keep saying that sugar-free juice, sweetened with non-sugars. As long as it is sweetened, it is a source of calories, it's a source of carbohydrate. So, consumption should be limited, more so if there is an added sugar. It is always wise to eat the fruit itself rather than looking for a fruit juice without sugar, with flavor. Just take a fresh fruit. That is safer. Most essential point is everyone older than 10 years of age should aim at least 400 grams of fruits and vegetables per day. We are talking about half a kg of fruits and vegetables should be consumed by every single person. Maybe you can say lesser amount for children less than 10 years by 250 grams up to 5 years or 350 grams up to 9 years. Every adult should aim for a daily intake of at least 25 grams of naturally occurring diet fibers as found in foods. Another important point, diet fibers. People keep talking about these fibers. So you have to have at least 25 grams of fibers. The so-called processed food do not contain fibers. That is the issue. Fibers help in reducing the rate of absorption of your carbohydrate and fats. So remember, fibers are very important. In children less than 5 years, 15 grams of fiber, and up to 9 years, 21 grams of fiber is necessary. Coming to sugars. Consumption of free sugar should be 50 grams, about 12 levels of teaspoons per person of a healthy body weight per day. The commonest source of directly taking sugar is obviously beverages, coffee, tea, Bournvita, Horlicks, fresh juice. Limiting further may provide an additional healthy benefit. That's the maximum limit we are talking about. Please do not consume more than 12 level teaspoons of sugar, direct sugar, every single day. Consumption of free sugar should be limited throughout the life course. So what are these free sugars? Why are we talking about free sugars all the time? They are called monosaccharides and disaccharides. The monosaccharides are sucrose, fructose, glucose. These monosaccharides and disaccharides are the ones which gives the sweetness. Sucrose, fructose and glucose gives you the sweetness to your food. So these are added to the food and beverages by the manufacturers, by cooks to make it more very, very attractive for their customers, and it is sometimes added even by consumers. Hey, sugar is less, let me put one more spoon of sugar. So it's added at your dining table at your end. Remember, sugars are naturally present in honey, syrup, fruit juices and fruit juice concentrates. Without sugar, there is no sweetening. People say non-sugar sweeteners, they are all contain sugars in different forms. Reducing the consumption of free sugar should be accomplished without use of non-sugar sweeteners. The list of non-sugar sweeteners which you normally see in your product information, aspartame, advantamase, saccharin, saccharose. People think, oh, I don't take sugar, I take saccharin only, so my sugars are under control. Saccharin also contains sugar. Now the second component is fat. We are all obsessed with fat. Recently everybody, newer generations, always think of fitness and fat consumption. Fat is an essential nutrient for proper functioning of cells in the body. This is a fact. You have to remember that you need fats for your healthy body. 2 fatty acids, linoleic acid and alpha-linoleic acid, these cannot be produced by the body and have to be obtained only by food. So these are called essential fatty acids. If the food does not contain linoleic acid or essential fatty acid, you may get deficiencies. Therefore, in an adult, a minimum of 15% of energy should be consumed in the form of fat. We said 50 to 75% or 45% to 75% of your calories should be in the form of carbohydrate. Anywhere between 50 to 30% of this should be in the form of fat. So remember, the fat gives you more energy than carbohydrate. So even a small amount of fat can give you higher calories. And when it comes to nutrition for children, their energy requirement is more, obviously, for their optimal growth and development. And apart from that, they are always active. So they need more energy. And the tendency of the children to avoid big meals is an added factor where we should increase their fat content in their diet. Even a small amount of fat can give them enough energy for the day. So in children, fat consumption should be little more than adults. The quality of the dietary fat is important. It is not that every fat is safe, every fat is good. So there are 3 types of fat in our daily dietary consumption. One is called unsaturated fatty acid, second is called saturated fatty acid, and third one is trans fat. Unsaturated fatty acid is good, it's preferable. Try to consume as much as unsaturated fatty acids as possible, or let's call it unsaturated fat. Whereas saturated fat and trans fat should be avoided. So what is the source of this unsaturated fat? They are seen in fish, avocado and nuts, sunflower, soya bean, canola, olive oils. These are the important common source of unsaturated fat. The news here is fish is a good source of fat when compared to a fatty meal in the form of mutton or red meat. When it comes to saturated fat, which are to be avoided, they are found in fat meal or fatty meat, butter, palm and coconut oil, creams, cheese, ghee and lard. The third type is the trans fat, and there are different kinds like industrially produced trans fat. The food industry has increased the amount of trans fat in many of our food because they add to the taste. So they hydrogenate the normal fat to give it an extra taste, and that is called trans fat, and trans fat is not healthy fat. So they are seen in baked and fried foods, pre-packaged snacks and foods, off the shelf eating. That's the classical one, like frozen pizzas, pies, cookies, biscuits, wafers, cooking oils and spreads. Another important source of trans fat is the ruminant trans fat. They are found in meat and dairy products of ruminant animals like cows, sheep, goat and camels. When we consume the meat of these animals like cows, sheep and goat, trans fats are more in amount. Remember the point that your saturated fat should be less than 10% of the total energy. No more than 1% of the total energy should be from the trans fat of any type. So saturated fat should be less than 10%, trans fat should be less than 1%. Lower intake of saturated and trans fat may have additional health benefits. They can be replaced with polyunsaturated fat or monounsaturated fat from plant sources. Saturated fat can also be replaced by carbohydrate from foods containing naturally occurring diet fibers. Again, we have come to fibers such as whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and pulses. In particular, industrially produced trans fats are not part of a healthy diet and should be avoided. So, how do we reduce the saturated and trans fat on a daily basis? First thing, steaming or boiling instead of frying when cooking. Fried items, which is a great attraction, should be avoided. Replacing the butter, lard and ghee with oils rich in polyunsaturated fats like soya bean, canola, cornflower oil, safflower oil or sunflower oil. Eating lean meats or trimming the visible fat from the meat. Third one is limiting the consumption of baked and fried foods. Pre-packaged foods and snacks like donuts, cakes, pies, cookies, biscuits and wafers that contain industrially produced trans fat should be avoided. So, how do I know what I am eating? Remember, each oil available in the modern day markets show the amount of variable types of fats like polyunsaturated fat, saturated fat, and trans fat available in them. So, please look into these details and choose appropriately. Remember remember to consume less of saturated fat and least trans fat. Unsaturated fatty acids, whether polyunsaturated or monounsaturated, are the good fat to be consumed. Now, coming to the third component, proteins. Proteins provide the building blocks of many of our structural elements in the body, like muscles, functional molecules such as hormones and enzymes. Protein intake is approximately 50 to 75 grams for a person of a healthy body weight, consuming around 2000 calories per day. So if you take an average man to be 60 kgs, so 1 gram per kg is the protein that is necessary for a healthy living per day. But protein intake may be increased or greater in adolescents, athletes and bodybuilders. Consuming excessive amount of protein, however, can place the metabolic burden on the body, particularly kidneys. Protein breakdown leads to ammonia, which is converted to urea, and that has to be excreted by kidneys. So if you have a moderate deficiency in your kidney function, then protein should be avoided. Now coming to the electrolytes. Salt and potassium are the important electrolytes. Salt, what we mean is sodium. So salt intake should be less than 5 grams per day. Salt intake can be reduced by limiting the amount of salt and avoiding high sodium condiments like soya sauce, fish sauce. By limiting the salt when cooking and preparing the foods, and not having salt or high sodium sauces on the table. A potassium intake of 3.5 grams per day for an adult may be beneficial. Intake of potassium can be increased by consuming fresh fruits and vegetables. Always remember, fresh fruits and vegetables are the source of potassium. Now this is the point to be remembered. If there is a kidney compromise, these people should avoid fruits and vegetables completely. Other components are the micronutrients, nutrients which are needed in very small volumes. Micronutrients are essential vitamins and minerals. There are about 30 different micronutrients, including 13 different types of vitamins called A, B complex, C, D, E and K. 16 minerals like iron, iodine, zinc, calcium, etc. Body needs them in very small amount for a proper growth and development and health. Deficiencies in these nutrients can lead to serious health issues like anemia and scurvy. Globally, micronutrient deficiency are highly prevalent. More than half the children in the world under 5 are suffering from micronutrient deficiencies. Over 2/3 of non-pregnant women of reproductive age also have micronutrient deficiencies. They are deficient at least in one key micronutrients, most commonly iron, zinc, vitamin A and folic acid. So diet should have a wide variety of nutrient-dense foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts and seeds, which provide micronutrients as well. So ensures adequate intake of key vitamins and minerals. So when the diet contains these elements, it ensures adequate intake of vitamins and minerals. Beans and lean meat supply iron. Iron is another important micronutrient. Dark green leafy vegetables provide vitamin A. Iodized salts avoids iodine deficiency. Again, another important micronutrient is iodine. Many of our groceries and some of our food available in the market are fortified with this micronutrient. That means the micronutrients are industrially added to these food items. Common thing is iodized salt. Just a point to remember is iodine is available in plenty in sea water. So those who are living along the seashore are unlikely to have iodine deficiency because somehow the iodine gets into your nutrition. Whereas people staying away from sea, like sub-Himalayan terrains, iodine deficiency is very, very common. That is why now it has become mandatory that iodine should be added to a salt which is consumed by everyone. Large scale food fortification of widely consumed staples and condiments like flour, rice, oil, salt, sugar is a common practice now. What are they fortified with? They are fortified with micronutrients like iron, folic acid, vitamin A, iodine, and zinc, only to avoid deficiency of these micronutrients in the population. So, what are the foods we should be consuming at regular basis? As we said, a wide variety of food should include a variety of fruits, vegetables, pulses, whole grains, lean source of protein. So this variety ensures a healthy diet. The diverse diet is based on a wide variety of food between and within food groups. So this wide variety of food is associated with a greater likelihood of meeting vitamins and mineral requirements. It reduces the risk of diet-related non-communicable diseases. So a shift towards more plant-based source of protein may bring health benefits, particularly when the shift is away from red meat. Food high in unhealthy fat, free sugars and sodium should be limited. Diet containing significant amount of highly processed food, which are often high in sodium, sugar and unhealthy fat, are associated with negative health outcomes. So, what are the factors that decide what we eat? The factors include the income, obviously, financial status, food prices, which will affect the availability and affordability of healthy food. Most important thing is individual preferences and beliefs, cultural traditions, as some of these cultures do not practice consumption of meat or non-vegetarian food. Other factors are the geographical and environmental aspects, including climate change. Therefore, creating a healthy food environment that promotes a diversified, balanced and healthy diet requires the involvement of multiple sectors and stakeholders, including the government, the public and private sectors, and more importantly, the awareness of the consumers, that is the lay public. So what is the outcome of today's topic? Now that you are sensitized regarding diet, it is your call. What is the next step depending on your status of health? Whether you're going to reduce your weight, increase your weight, or remain healthy in. Okay, thank you and bye for the present. We'll meet you again with another topic, another day. Dr. Vijay Ravan signing off. Bye.